They say history is written by the victors. But what happens when history is rewritten by scandal, obsession, and propaganda? When you hear the name Cleopatra, what do you see? A temptress draped in gold? Elizabeth Taylor locked in a stair with Richard Burton? Or perhaps a cunning queen who brought empires to their knees with beauty alone? But what if we told you, most of that isn't true? This is Timelines Unravelled, and today, we're diving into the hidden story of Cleopatra VII, not the seductress of Roman imagination, but the shrewd strategist, master linguist, and economic reformer who held Egypt together as the ancient world collapsed around her. Let's unravel the myth. Born in 69 BC into the dying days of the Ptolemaic dynasty, Cleopatra wasn't just a figurehead, she was the last real ruler of ancient Egypt before Rome turned it into another province. Her family, descendants of one of Alexander the Great's generals, had ruled for nearly 300 years. But by her birth, they were hanging by a thread. Her father, Ptolemy XII, was a weak ruler, widely despised by Egyptians and Romans alike. When Cleopatra eventually took the throne at just 18, alongside her younger brother, whom she was forced to marry, Egypt was teetering on the brink of economic collapse, famine, and civil war. From day one, Cleopatra proved she was no ordinary queen. She was the first of her dynasty to actually learn the Egyptian language, and not just that. She reportedly spoke at least 7 languages fluently: Greek, Latin, Hebrew, Aramaic, Ethiopian, and others, making her one of the most educated leaders of the ancient world. Her ability to converse directly with foreign diplomats without interpreters was practically unheard of in that era. And then there's the economy. When Cleopatra came to power, Egypt's finances were in ruins. Her father had borrowed heavily from Rome, and the country was drowning in debt. Cleopatra slashed unnecessary spending, reformed the tax system, and introduced new currency, stabilizing Egypt's economy in less than a decade. While Rome was tearing itself apart in civil war, Egypt, under Cleopatra, was feeding not only its own people, but also supplying grain to desperate Roman provinces. She wasn't just playing queen, she was governing. So where did the seductress story come from? Much of what we know about Cleopatra comes from Roman sources, and Rome had every reason to twist her image. After all, she was the foreign queen who bewitched Julius Caesar and later Mark Antony, 2 of Rome's most powerful men, and in doing so, nearly shifted the balance of global power. But let's rewind. In 48 BC, Cleopatra smuggled herself into Julius Caesar's palace in Alexandria, famously hidden inside a rug or linen sack, depending on which Roman author you believe. It wasn't a stunt of seduction. It was political genius. Her brother had ousted her from the throne. Cleopatra knew Caesar could tip the scales, and she was right. With Caesar's support, she regained power and began a personal and political alliance with Rome's most powerful man. The union produced a son, Caesarion, and solidified Egypt's standing for a few more years. But after Caesar's assassination in 44 BC, Cleopatra had to start again. That's when she met Mark Antony. Their alliance, and later, romance, has been endlessly mythologized. But Cleopatra didn't just fall in love. She saw an opportunity to align with a Roman strongman who could protect Egypt's independence. Antony needed her wealth and resources, she needed his military might. Together, they built a short-lived Eastern Empire, with Cleopatra declared Queen of Kings, and her children given royal titles over various territories. It was an open challenge to Rome's new rising star, Octavian, Caesar's adopted son. In Rome, the propaganda machine kicked into overdrive. Octavian branded Cleopatra as a manipulative foreign queen corrupting a Roman general. In one of history's earliest smear campaigns, she was portrayed as a wicked sorceress, dripping in exotic luxury, leading Antony astray with orgies, incense, and whispered temptations. In truth, Cleopatra was fighting for her nation's sovereignty, the last pharaoh holding off Roman domination. It all came crashing down in 31 BC at the Battle of Actium. Octavian's navy crushed Antony and Cleopatra's forces. The couple fled to Egypt, where, a year later, both would take their own lives. Cleopatra, according to legend, by the bite of an asp, though modern scholars believe poison was far more likely. With her death in 30 BC, Egypt was annexed by Rome. Caesarion, her son with Julius Caesar, was captured and executed. The Ptolemaic dynasty, and 3,000 years of Egyptian pharaonic rule, ended in a single generation. But Cleopatra's story didn't die. It was hijacked. Centuries of art, theater, and later film turned her into an exotic caricature, an irresistible woman who toppled men with her beauty. But the truth is far more compelling. She wasn't the last great queen of Egypt because of her looks. She was the last because she was brilliant, ruthless when needed, and a master of survival in a male-dominated world stacked against her. Cleopatra ruled for 21 years, longer than almost any Roman emperor. She navigated one of the most dangerous political landscapes in history, negotiated with titans like Caesar and Antony, and tried to forge a path for Egypt's independence in a world consumed by Rome. And yet, for centuries, her legacy was reduced to eyeliner and scandal. It's time we give her credit, not as a temptress, but as a leader. A linguist, a diplomat, a strategist, a survivor, the true Cleopatra. Thanks for watching Timelines Unraveled. If you enjoyed this journey through history and want more stories that dig beneath the myths, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an episode. History isn't just what happened, it's how we remember it. Let's keep unraveling it together.